Hello, so I'm here today with Mary Harris, author of Rocks, Radio and Radar, and I'm just going to ask you a few questions today. So to start with, what were your inspirations for making this History of Science book?
The first inspiration was the fact that Elizabeth kept a personal diary while she was in New Zealand. It was a letter, really, it was in the form of a letter to her husband, who was interned by the Japanese. And I first read it on her death, but then my father took it away again. And it came into my possession a few years ago, at a time when I had retired from mathematics education and was very conscious through my own research of how women get left out of mathematics and science. So when this diary came into my possession, I reread it through more wise, shall we say, eyes, and I knew it had to be published. And at the same time, New Zealand declassified its own radar records, which explained some of Elizabeth's work. And this is why I simply had to publish the book.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on women disappearing in history?
I think it's shocking, but I think it is changing now, particularly if you look at the fall of Singapore. Most of the literature is what Professor Mary Beard calls big books by blokes about battles, which just about sums it up. But in both world wars, an enormous amount of science, boffin work, was done by women who then get written out of history because most of war history is written by men for men.
Okay, thank you. And one final question. Through your professional experiences, do you have any advice for the next generation of women wanting to be heard?
I think obvious things really, like keep at it, be strong, don't allow yourself to be bullied, and keep plugging away with other women. The world, I think, is beginning to change on this. There's a lot more in the literature now, but we still have a lot more to do in working towards a much more rational balance in historiography of science.
Okay, thank you very much for talking with me today.